Jed, what's going on here?
Well, this display is kind of showing the construction technique that's still used. I mentioned how similar it is to the birch barks, the Native American birch barks. They built their canoes right side up on the ground. This is the same kind of design, but now it's built upside down and it's built on top of a form. So underneath here, you see the form.
This is the form.
That's what this is.
Okay, that's not part of the canoe.
Right.
No.
And it has metal bands on it. That was one of Dan Harold's patents. From there, you have these wood ribs that you steam and soak in water and steam, and then you bend them over. Put one on each of those metal bands there, fasten it down, and then you have the planking that goes on the other way. Nail goes through, hits the metal band, and turns the tip up a little bit.
Do these need to be pliable as well? Do you soak these?
Not so much.
These do,
because they're
though.
straight, you're not bending them. You're bending them a little bit when you get down here, but they're so thin that they bend pretty readily. But yeah, these take a lot of steaming, and usually two people working on each side of the canoe. And then, so you got the ribs, the planking, and then you can put the canvas on. And you can see here, there's just a plain, ordinary canvas. And then there's a little compound that's rubbed into it. A lot of different builders have their own secret recipe for that.
Yeah.
You let that dry and harden, and then you can paint it.
So you're really just painting this, the compound.
Right. Now, you wouldn't put the canvas on and all this on the form. You would do the wood pieces, pop it off the form, and then finish it off.
You just did this for me today, right?
Right,
Yes.
just to simplify things for you. This is a display about Tom McKenzie, who was from Madison. And he was an avid canoe builder. He actually built the birch bark that we saw first off.
Okay.
And this was his last canoe he built. He was also instrumental in starting the Wooden Canoe Heritage Association, which is out of New York on the East Coast, and starting a big canoe rendezvous that they have, their assembly they call it, which is still held in New York and the Adirondack Mountains. And that's one of his, and this is one of his also, one of his early ones where he experimented with other coverings. That one is a canvas covered, but I believe this is Seconite. It's an aircraft covering material. This blue one up here was a canoe he made to just experiment with that covering. So that's one of the first ones that had this other covering on.
Seconite. No idea. And these?
These are some fun boats. These are made by Gene Jensen.
Are they race boats?
Who's from Minneapolis. Yes, they are racing boats, marathon racing boats. If you go to a marathon canoe race now, half the boats are probably of Gene Jensen's design.
So a design like this moves faster or works better for a long haul?
Well, both. Well, and Gene had a lot of different ideas. This is one of his bench shaft paddles. Well, he was one of the first to do that. So the story goes that he made one by himself like this, would go to a race. Everybody would laugh and say, Gene, well, your paddle's bent. And then he'd win the race.
Oh, there we go.
And then he'd come back the next year and everybody had one. And he did that. That happened with a lot of his designs and things. This is probably the oldest canoe in our collection, other than possibly the dugout, but this is from about 1870s. This is a Dan Harold double cedar patent canoe. He did not live very long, had a short life, and so a lot of his canoes, he didn't make very many, and so they're pretty rare. But this one actually has canvas like the ones we saw in the other, but it's in between the two layers of wood.
Really? And he did
that
that
was,
why?
That was his idea and his idea for a patent.
Oh.
Well, the canvas is what seals the water out. And when it's on the outside, it can get torn, bumped, or whatever.
Sure.
So I suppose this was his idea of making a stronger, the Canadians were into stronger canoes.
And all of these canoes in your museum came from where?
Various places, but the museum was started with the collection of Jill and Jeff Dean. They were from Madison. Jill Dean was a big canoe collector, and they were wanting to retire to Arizona. They wanted to keep their collection intact. Jill had a brother living in Spooner, and while visiting here, she stopped in at Mort's furniture store, Mark Dahl's furniture store downtown. He was a canoe collector too and had several hanging up in the rafters.
Nice.
And they got to talking and decided that she would donate her canoes here if we built her a museum. So we got the building from the city, put a lot of volunteer time into rehabbing it, and started a museum. That was about 25 canoes. We're up to about 60 or more now. We've had a lot of people donate canoes, and we've hunted around for different ones we need to add to the collection to complete it.
Yeah, and canoes from all over? These aren't Wisconsin-centric canoes?
No, we cover anything from North America.
Yeah.